listening to the Subtle Forces podcast. I am your host, Anja, not Anja, and I have no idea what all will fall from my lips today. That ended abruptly, as another thing begins abruptly. Or maybe not so abruptly. There was a day, it wasn't this year, and it wasn't even last year, but I was in the car with my husband, and the scene opens on us driving in the car together, entering the parking lot to the grocery store, and driving further to enter the line for Taco Bell. And that's where the scene begins. My husband, he asks me, how far back must you travel in American history before it begins to feel like a completely different world? Yes, he asked me this while driving into the line at Taco Bell, so I looked around me. I saw across the street all these post-World War II starter homes. They were small houses, but plausible. I could see them being built by young grandparents before they had any children. They were attaching the very siding we were looking at on the houses across the street. They were reading the unfolded instructions on how to build a house. And all these houses were very similar, very easy to build, but I could see it happening, and really, it didn't happen all that long ago. So, not the 40s, but I kept going back in my head, and I stopped. I decided a completely different world would be the 1930s with, dust, spun air, everything orange and brown tinged, hobos carving messages on fence posts to warn mean dog, bad man, nice old woman. Maybe it's because my folks were born in the 40s, which is to me perhaps the start of an actual provable world. It was a more formal time for sure. But they did have atomic bombs and airplanes, and, there were more women at work running the operation. Whereas to me, in my head, the 1930s is farm life. Drinking dangerous, who knows what's in it, moonshine. And you drink moonshine because you're trying to numb the bullet wound that is slowly killing you, because Al Capone nailed it there in your chest. Yes, I've been thinking about this. Just the other day, someone asked me, wait, Anja, wouldn't the correct answer be 2008? And this person, they asked me this, but I thought they were a bit of a doof. I was trapped talking to this person. I didn't really know for over an hour. You see, this always happens to me. The lonely ones, they find me at the festivals. They find the poet lady sitting in a tall booth, there, ready for their interactions. And they snare me. They snare me to yak endlessly. So I give them cues, and most of them ignore my cues. My first cue is mention husband. When mention husband fails, I move on to cue 2, and I ask, so did you come to this festival alone, or do you have friends? Like, friends? Do you have friends with you? And in all likelihood, the person who is glommed onto me says, no, I like coming to festivals alone. I grew up in crowds. I like being alone in crowds. But this person doesn't budge from my side for someone who likes being alone. And I'm running out of cues, so it seems clear I need to give this attention a leech. Gruff bluntness. I need to tell this person I have been subject and am continuing to experience the non-stop death metal stage. All day, the sound of in my immediate surroundings. Now, you try and type poetry for people for 11 hours with that racket. And then you have someone come up to you, someone just asking you all sorts of questions like you're in some sort of an interview that you didn't sign up for. Someone just stands to your side and asks you questions like, who's your favorite poet? What's your what do you think of this writer? This was my life, so I tell them the non-stop death metal all day stage across the way is rattling my brain, and I cannot conversate further. And what remaining thought cells I have left, I need to be able to type why 2008 is the stupidest answer to how far must you go for everything to be just a completely different world. Because in fact, unless you are a baby in 2026, it's an incorrect answer. Because, in 2008, I was arrested. I was arrested for trespassing in a graveyard. And this is true, but my record was cleaned. I was forgiven. It was a more seriously taken situation because there happened to be a federal prison across the street. And I remember the policeman said, "You're trying to exhume bodies to get your boyfriend out of prison, aren't you?" And I knew that was a ridiculous accusation and that the policeman was trying to intimidate this 20-year-old and freak her out for walking innocently in the moonlight in a graveyard like you do. But my record was cleared. But if things had gone the other way, and they had been extra unreasonably punitive, and I had been locked up for 18 years, and then I get out this year. Someone would have to show me smartphones. Someone would have to show me, like, QR code parking meters. I'd also have to learn how to drive, probably. But, people would explain the new developments in societal brutishness if I hadn't already been abundantly clear on them. Of course, there's like national politics, blah, blah, blah. But, I'd pretty much adjust. No one would have to explain, this is how you employ a tampon. No one would have to say, Anja, I hate to break it to you, but Jell-O is only for colonoscopies now. And, even my pre-incarceration clothes would be completely able to blend in with current times. It's not that long ago. I'd look a little outdated with my flared pants, perhaps, and my layered long sleeve shirt with tee over the top of it. But I think the hardest thing for me to adjust to is what is already hardest for me to adjust to, is that between 2008 and 2026, all the old people are gone, and they've been replaced by our parents, who shouldn't even be that old. It's a very normal thing, but tricky for me to adjust to. But I've been talking to so many people. I've been writing somewhere between 20 and 30 poems a day for strangers in the past month. And one of the things I offer is this thing called the essence portrait. I'll explain it. I'm not trying to sell you one. I'm just telling you about my life, okay? So I make these essence portraits where I have a person stand before me and I draw their face. And I draw their face only looking at their face. I do not look at what I'm drawing, so I don't know what my hand is doing to the piece of paper. More often than not, when I am done, it does look like the person, but it looks like a distorted picture of the person. Their nose is even bigger. Their eyes might be starrier, but you can see their essence in it, I say, their essence. And then on top of that, I write a poem. I type a poem on top with my typewriter. I type a poem about what imagery came up for me when I was staring so deeply into that person's face. And we call it an essence portrait. But often what happens with it is people go, "Wow, how did you know?" And so I use this detail when telling people, if they're trying to decide if they want an essence portrait, I'll say, it is often an uncanny experience. And that often gets people if they want an uncanny experience. Some people aren't up for all the staring. It's a lot of eye contact. People's lips twitch. They close their mouths if I look at their mouths. They break out in nervous laughter. It's a lot of one-on-one attention I'm giving people. And there was one day this young lady really wanted one. And it was the start of the day of the festival, and her boyfriend didn't want her to get one because it's my pricey product. And he was like, are you sure? Then we'll have to carry it around. And she was like, no, I want one. I like psychics. And I never said I was a psychic, but the boyfriend turns to me. He asks me point blank, are you a psychic? And I immediately tell him no. I might catch something a little coincidental from time to time, but I make no claims of being a psychic exactly. He's like, so are you or aren't you? And I said, okay, anyone who's going around saying, I am a psychic, is probably a shyster. They're probably pulling your leg. They're probably trying to pull one over you so they can take your wallet and run. That's not to say that there aren't people who are good at what they do, but I don't really tend to trust people when they announce themselves as a psychic. But I was just being honest, because as much as I want the sale, I don't want anyone thinking I'm walking around the world calling myself a psychic. But nonetheless, the girlfriend won. She convinced the boyfriend that they were going to get the typewritten essence. And all of a sudden, staring into her face, I could feel all this additional pressure of entertaining them when the boyfriend so clearly did not want me to offer this service, and I'm not even a psychic. And so I'm typing, and as I'm typing, I'm getting the strangest imagery. That's how it is as a poet doing what I do. I get imagery in my head and I just type it down, even if I think it's cheesy or strange. Like, I was getting imagery like, put down something about toilet paper. And I was like, toilet paper? Really? You think they're gonna like that? I was like, fine. I don't argue with the voice that tells me to do things, but I'm going to put toilet paper in this one. Something about how her toilet paper might run out, but she doesn't worry. She's never too worried when the toilet paper runs out, okay? And then later in the poem, I was getting this other imagery. I was like, really? This is such a cliche. You want me to put something about a caged bird getting freed by a zookeeper? Fine. I'll put that in there because you're telling me to. But that is one big cliche that every poet has overused all the time. And then what always happens is I complete the poem. I ring my bell. They come back. I grab my peacock feather and I perform the poem. I read the poem with the toilet paper and the caged bird that is freed by the zookeeper. And then both of them, they go, how did you know? How did you know we were just fighting over toilet paper last week? We were just in such a disagreement over it. And I said, I didn't know. coincidence. And the lady, she goes, even the caged bird imagery. I just got a shirt with a bird being freed from a cage. And I was like, wow. All right. I still don't think I'm a psychic. Nor do I think I want to be mixed up with one. But that was a moment when the spirit came through and defended me on the mission, I guess. And so, then, a couple days later, I have another story for you about the same thing. Someone else wanted an essence portrait. She wanted me to stare deep into her face and tell her what she is about in her early 20s. So I wrote the following. When the sky rips and 33,333 gerbils, hamsters, guinea pigs pour down to decimate the seed supply, I will be ready. AstroTurf unrolled. Mini racing tees with Velcro to twist onto the scamper bodies. I will find them. The best squeaking racers of the bunch. And I will gather them, train them with mini treadmills, the paparazzi, and the glossy magazines for the best players you can find will be in the grocery store. But my name, the genius behind the industry, oh, I will sparkle, but quietly own it all, splitting the winnings with my very dearest pals. So I wrote this poem for young woman Mari, and after I read it, she asked me, how did you know I work in a pet store in the small animal department? And I didn't. I don't. But I don't fight what imagery comes in when typing for people. And I do think I miss. I do think I miss from time to time. And that is why I do not call myself a psychic. I do not know the information coming in or why it is coming in. I know nothing about it. But more often than not, people seem ready to be moved. And I don't even think it's because I'm magical, especially. I think it's because they're ready for a sign. I think people are ready for signs. Although I do think writing about gerbils, hamsters, and guinea pigs when someone works in a small animal department is perhaps more than a coincidence. That can just kind of happen sometimes. But all of this happened recently while I was out in crowds typing for people. And I speaking of psychics, I was talking to someone the other day. I wrote an essence for a woman who told me she's training to be an animal communicator. And I asked her, what are the animals saying? And she said, oh, nothing crazy, just, the fact that we all just need to be present and in the moment. All animals basically say the same thing, but in their own way. And I was like, that's the only thing they talk about? Like, hasn't any animal said anything else to you of interest of late? And she said, well, I'm just beginning my training. And I just had my first conversation with a horse the other day. And, at the beginning of the conversation, the first thing the horse told me, the horse said, I'm so very pretty. And while I am generally someone who might be a little skeptical of someone being able to say they understand what animals are saying telepathically, when she said, the horse said, I am so very pretty, I knew she was right. I knew that horse did tell her, I am so very pretty, because that seems exactly what a horse would say, so confident as they are. I asked her, do you think the horse meant physically? Like, do you think the horse sees itself in mirrors? Or do you think the horse just kind of has a natural confidence? And she said, I think it's more like horses are just naturally confident. And I was like, yeah, that seems about right. So that's been my weird life lately. Thank you for listening along. We've been listening to Favorite Classics for Piano from Capitol Records with Leonard Pinario on piano. I am your host, Anja, here to remind you, when encountering any subtle force, you have both your logic and your feelers with which to interpret it.